I know, I know that no one likes talking about the Wild, but if you're the Wild, kind of what's your plan moving forward to be more of a contender, and to be, because I feel like they have like a decent roster. It's just like, what do you do moving forward if you're the
I feel like
Wild?
their plan was to get Lafreniere, and that didn't happen.
Yeah,
So I don't really know what you do. Like Minnesota has always been like just that tweener team. It's
Yeah,
like there and there's about, but they're just so they have those two anchor contracts, and like Suter and Parise,
and stalls, yeah.
and it's like either that's the thing. People are like they need to blow it up, and I'm like, how do you go about it? I feel
Yeah,
like their best bet is to kind of it sucks, but like what they've been doing is just finding a way to get to the playoffs and then just rolling the dice. Just hoping
yeah,
you go on a run.
yeah,
It's like, what else do you really do?
exactly. Because you can't.
They got some young guys coming up. Is it Kaprizov? Is that
Kaprizov, yeah, from the KHL, yeah, he's a great player.
some guys like that to just like be infused into this lineup and give it some life. And
Do you in free
they
agency?
got kind of question in net now.
Yeah. In free agency, do you like, I mean, I guess you add to your forward core because their D is pretty good. But it's just like, do you get like another like Zuccarello type player and just kind of like throw him into your forward core and be like, all right, I hope this works. You know what I mean? Like they did this year. Like it's just it's kind of a bad situation there.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be the manager of.
No, you would not.
No chance.
It just seems like a tough job.
But anyways, we are now going to move into the Eastern Conference playoffs. Very exciting, lots to talk about here. So first off, let's talk about our first matchup, which is Montreal in Philly. Montreal knocks off the Pittsburgh Penguins. I want to issue an apology to the Canadians.
Yeah.
I don't know, Malik, if you watched the last video, but me and Max were just like, we were just
we didn't give them the time of day. We gave them like talked like 5 minutes about them because
we just talked about
they're done.
Yeah,
like,
we were just
why are we even like we ate so much shit off of like what we said about them. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just
that
said
was so bad.
it was Kotkaniemi had a terrible year. Price another year of mediocrity in his terrible contract. So it was pretty brutal.
They shouldn't be here.
Yeah, they shouldn't be here.
Pens are proven playoff performers even with the lapse from last year. They're just a team that always finds a way in the playoffs, even when you think they're counted out.
Yeah, they're only here because
we just ate a cow patty, dude.
I think that's interesting with Pittsburgh. Like, can we still give them that like it factor?
That's what I was.
They've won one game in the past 2 years in the playoffs.
Yeah, that series, I'm just like, Montreal can play well, but I'm like, it's Pittsburgh. They're just gonna.
Exactly.
That's always just the mindset I've had, especially as a Caps fan.
And hey, shout out to myself. Shout out to myself. Like I said in the last video, I said Pittsburgh's forward core was weaker. Their overall roster talent was weaker this year. Number 2, like I was texting Max, Murray is the most overrated goalie in the NHL. He's not a very good goalie. All right, that's just another thing. And in this series, Montreal had so many soft goals. Like, it is crazy how many soft goals they had in this series. Game 1, you have the crazy Kotkaniemi bounce, where it like goes in, it like skips up in the air and then goes in, the Kotkaniemi knocks it in. And then you have, like I was talking about with Max, the Suzuki breakaway. He shoots a wrister right at Murray's glove and it just goes by him because Murray's glove hand. Yeah, Swiss cheese glove hand.
Swiss cheese glove.
And, then game 3, you have one of the sickest goals of the playoffs. I mean, game 1, you have the sickest goal of the playoff with Petrie's toe drag. That was such a sick goal. But, a lot of these goals were really soft. Yari plays in that game 4 and plays really well. But Arturi Lekatin has the tip in to give Montreal 1-0 lead, and then they get the empty netter, like, did you see that empty netter by Weber? It was like he was like behind their net and just whacked it in with the slap shot. Yeah. And so, first off, what did you guys think of this series with Montreal? And if you're Pittsburgh, kind of how do you proceed after just getting stunned by Montreal?
It's embarrassing, man. I don't know.
Yeah, Carey Price. Carey Price
Yeah.
turned the clock back like 5 years.
Yeah. He played
Out
so
of
well.
mind. And then, yeah, I mean, with Pittsburgh, again, like, me and Cats, man, I'm always just going to assume they're going to be back. But I guess you got to start asking the question of, like, you know, how legit, like, can they keep, is this sustainable?
And what do you have moving
just
forward?
Reloading every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, can they just keep trying to reload every year for a run and getting rid of these, like, prospects? Thank the Lord they didn't get the Lafreniere. So that's not, like, this solution.
I mean, you can only pull up like so many nobodies from your ass up from the AHL to plug up against Crosby before it stops working.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. Their prospects right now are they got nothing under 24 besides Marino.
They're all on the. I mean, they're all. They've all been up on the team at some point now.
Yeah.
Like they're on. Now they're getting to that age where it's like who else is up. It's tough. But yeah, I mean, even then, like Carey Price was like outstanding that series.
Yeah.
And you know,
Petrie
Pittsburgh still could have won that. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So.
And Petrie, wow, he's got to be the MVP of the series. I mean, he played so well. Averaged 32 minutes every game. You know, Shea Weber must have heard what I said about him on this YouTube channel because he really stepped up, as Max reminded me. Just had a hell of a series. And, you know, they got it done. They got it done, shockingly. So they're taking on the Flyers in this series. Philly obviously has not skipped a beat since quarantine. I mean, they are playing like their asses are on fire. Went 3-0 in the round robin. The Lawton Kevin Hayes line is insane. I mean, they score so many goals. Their chemistry is just incredible. For me, you know, looking at this series, I don't think that Montreal can sustain, you know, first play with Pittsburgh, and I don't think Carey Price can rescue this team enough. You know, you look at, like I was texting this with Max, I mean, you know, Malik, you play Petrie Weber 32 minutes a game, they're going to get really tired. Montreal barely even played their third pair. I mean, it was really Petrie Weber and then Sherratt. I can't even remember who their other defenseman is who's paired with Sherratt. But, you know, they really don't even – they basically play a four-man defense, Montreal, in the playoffs. The one good sign for them, or two good signs, is that Carey Price is playing very well, and they have a pretty deep forward core. It's mediocre, but it's deep. You know, you have guys like Lekitin, Byron, who really are grinders, can score goals, Kotkaniemi. But, you know, what do you guys see in this series? Do you think Montreal's forward depth and Carey Price's play is good enough for them to win, or do you see Philly all the way?
See, it's been tough with these because, you know, I immediately went up to my bracket. I'm like, one of these teams that we're saying probably is going to win, they're going to win. And it's just hard for me to say that with this one too, though, because, like I said, I gave the playing teams a lot of weight because of their plans, but Philly just looks dialed in. I don't think they have to worry too much about being caught sleeping from the round robins. And I'd say the only question is that Carter Hart hasn't played in the playoffs. So, like, that's that could be,
but he looked good in the round robin.
I don't think it'll be an issue, but, you know, that's something to think about. Even then, Elliott's looked good as well. And he's had a lot of miles on him, so he can probably step in and do pretty well.
Yeah.
But I had Philly in 6. I think you're going to get at least a couple Carey Price games.
Yeah.
Just win them.
Yeah, that's what I have. That's why I have Philly in 6 too. Like, I give him 2 games because Carey Price, if he's dialed in, can definitely is a goal you can steal 2 off of it. But Philly right now is just the team to beat in the league. Like, you look at Philly and they're with their roster makeup, they don't look like a team that should be as good as they are.
Exactly, yeah.
The chemistry that they have is absolutely insane. Just everything clicks. The culture there just seems like a culture of a team that gets well together and has a great bond with each other and wants to play with each other and support each other, and one that wants to win more than anything else. and it all just comes together in a way that you just wouldn't expect out of the roster they have. So Philly, it's basically like the team to beat in the NHL versus, a team that's riding high off of a major upset. And I don't think that the Magic can stay enough in Montreal to beat like that juggernaut that they're going up against in the East.
I agree. Yeah, no, and I would be, I think I would. It's disappointing if you're Montreal because, you miss out on Lafreniere, the chance to get Lafreniere, and second round. This is almost a death sentence. I mean, it's really going to be hard for them to win this series. I mean, just because of how well Philly's playing. I mean, they're just on fire, and they have so much chemistry.
I'll just eat shit again in like 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah,
like about Montreal.
Petrie has a hat trick game too. It's like
yeah. I mean, I guess we have to just just mention that this is like NHL.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready to be completely wrong on all of these. At the end of the day, I was just kind of like, well, I just kind of feel like this team's gonna win. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
not like I'll be surprised if this team upsets this team type of thing. Like I'm ready. Unlike last year, where everything just went topsy-turvy. Like I've mentally prepared myself for what could possibly happen in this round.
Yeah.
When it comes to upsets.
Yeah, like Carey Price watches this channel and then has 3 shutouts and the Canadians win the series. Just like, oh my God, what just happened? But I mean, I think I have Philly, and I just feel like they're gonna win, just because they're playing so hot. And Montreal, like you put it, they're riding high off an upset, and I just don't think they have the firepower to take him down. So moving on to our next series, which will be a really interesting discussion. We've got CBJ, the rematch. CBJ against the Tampa Bay Lightning. First off, we have to address, what happened in the CBJ series. Me and Max were correct on our prediction. CBJ in 5. We took CBJ in 5, and we were right. CBJ knocks down Toronto once again.
Probably the most predictable series.
It's just
all of them.
Toronto.
I felt pretty good about that one, to be honest. It might be easy to I feel like a lot of people now are just like, oh yeah, I knew the Leafs were going to win, but I feel like people are still like, nah, the Leafs got this, right? And I was like, Columbus is a good team, man. Like they're a solid bunch, and they got a good coach.
I mean, for me it was first we gotta, and I've mentioned this, obviously I talked about Marner and him just really being not only a soft player, but someone who just doesn't show up in the playoffs at all. I saw this Instagram meme, on Snapchat where you go in ghost mode and someone was above the caption was, I found Mitch Marner's status for the playoffs. I thought that was really funny. But anyways, another year of disappointment for the Leafs. The one thing I will say about them is I feel like every year in the playoffs they have guys like Robertson and Hull, just guys who have played probably 20 or 30 games in the regular season, and they kind of just throw them in the playoffs, and it's just why are you playing for this team? Why are you on the roster right now? I think that I think Dubas has to go, because he doesn't really know what he's doing. I mean, you can't, you have to let him go. I mean, after you lose.
You have a lot of hot takes with Maple Leafs, don't you?
Well, I mean.
I'm surprised on your Robertson takes, actually.
Yeah.
I thought
he was good.
He scored a goal, but is he really ready to be playing in the playoffs right now?
It's tough having your first NHL games in the playoffs, but I think you could have put either Johansson or not Johansson. What's his name?
Foligno.
Janssen, yeah. You could either put in Janssen or Robertson, and I don't think it would have affected the outcome of the game.
I just feel like they always have a lot of inexperience and or kind of awkward bottom lines in the playoffs.
It's funny because I was watching the Steve Dangle podcast before I got on this one, and I think what's the stat about Marner? I think it's like in the last 12 playoff games, he's had one even strength goal or something like that.
Wow.
They just need a shakeup to like something needs to shift.
Yeah.
Like something, and I feel like it's weird for me saying it as like because I feel like Toronto's kind of in the position of like I would say they're in the position of the Caps when they were just had this good core and they just couldn't